Angela Nichols, a corporate climber, finds herself stuck working past her departure time for a family holiday gathering on Christmas Eve. She says hello to Carl, the primary lobby security guard, as she enters the parking garage, P2. After entering the garage, she finds that her car won't start. She calls for a taxi and waits in the lobby after trying help from Thomas Bentley, the security guard, but to no effect. She also declines his offer to spend Christmas with him. She finds herself confined in the lobby as the cab pulls up, and because Carl is nowhere to be seen, she quickly dashes back to the garage to look for Thomas. Soon after, the lights go out, and Angela is left to fend for herself with just the light from her phone. Soon later, she stumbles and drops everything, including her phone. She finds it and shines it on herself, showing Thomas standing behind her. Thomas attacks Angela and uses chloroform on a rag to put her to sleep. Later, with her ankle tied to the table and Thomas serving her a Christmas supper of turkey and mashed potatoes, Angela awakens in a drunken haze inside Thomas's office. He is inquiring about her life and her history frequently. Thomas states that he is now reading The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. Thomas seems to love Angela despite her numerous faults, much like the main character in the book does. Thomas keeps Angela there against her will in spite of her pleading and threats, even pressuring her to call her family and make up an illness so that no one will come seeking for her. Angela digs a fork into Thomas's back as he is releasing her chains when Thomas wishes to take her for a drive, but she is unable to flee. He ties her wrists behind her back before they get into his car and head down to P4. They discover Jim, a fellow employee, bound to a desk chair there. Thomas assumed that Angela wanted vengeance after witnessing Jim make an attempt to physically assault Angela in an elevator after having too much to drink at an office Christmas party. This, he says, is his gift to her. When she rejects, Thomas adds that he has observed Jim touching people other than only her and that, in his opinion, it is unfair to let him go just because he expressed regret. Thomas starts to think that Angela had deeper feelings for Jim than just a co-worker and might have even had an affair to earn a promotion when she tries to defend not only Jim but also herself. Whether he trusted her or his own concocted notion of how she felt about the married man, he changed his mind several times. After insisting that she should be the one to defeat Jim, Angela finally concedes and answers affirmatively, either devising a strategy to escape as soon as she is freed from her tie or cooperating with Thomas to avoid harm. Thomas disagrees, though, saying that he doesn't want to label her a bad person. Instead, Thomas brutally beats Jim with a flashlight before repeatedly ramming Jim's car into a wall, forcing Jim's guts to burst out of his body and killing him. Despite the murder, Angela manages to get out of the vehicle. After running far away from Thomas, Angela is able to slip her legs through the handcuffs, placing her arms in the front of her body rather than the rear. Angela goes back to the office for her phone while Thomas scrambles to cover up the evidence of Jim's death. She also snatches some key cards. She attempts to contact for assistance after finding phone service near a gate on P1 but drops the phone when she realizes Thomas is approaching the corner and must leave it behind. Thomas follows her as she sprints to the elevators, using her key cards to enter with his assistance. She tries to get to the lobby but the floor button is inexplicably damaged and she ends up back on P1 almost face to face with Thomas and Rocky, his dog. She then uses the emergency stop between floors to take refuge in an elevator shaft. She presses the help button to request assistance. A man with a strong South Asian accent is on the line. He tries to convince her that Thomas was only trying to help her while she begs him to dial 911. Then, Angela realizes the voice is actually Thomas's. She ignores his further requests for her to exit the elevator. Then Thomas flushes her out by filling the elevator with water from a higher floor, forcing her to depart. Carl's presumably deceased body is shown to be the shadowy thing that fell from the ceiling when the elevator flooded. Finally arriving at the subsequent floor, the elevator suddenly bursts open, dumping Angela and Carl into the hallway. She tries to wake Carl up in the hopes that he might still be alive, but he won't stir. Then, Angela understands that she must leave him if she wants to survive. Carl is later shown remaining where Angela had left him, but now he has a fresh, sizable cut on the side of his skull that may be proof he was alive in the submerged elevator. He is then accused of ruining Christmas by Thomas, who subsequently dumps his dead body in the flooded hall. Thomas harasses Angela while playing Elvis music around the garage after she manages to flee into a dim corner of the garage to hide from him. She pulls open an emergency fire axe and starts to damage the security cameras as she makes her way to his office, ready to fight, realizing that he is tracking her through them. Once inside, she discovers a video showing Thomas touching her breasts while she was under the influence of drugs. Furious and blinded, she smashes the TV with the emergency fire axe. Then Thomas shows up and tasers Angela as she is being ambushed. 2 police officers show up at the garage in the meantime and decide to search the area for any suspicious activity. Particularly when they encounter the boards placed over Jim's lingering bloodstain. They don't look behind it or discover anything unusual. Thomas has the fire axe ready to use throughout the majority of their patrol, hidden from view until he speaks to them via his office door. Soon after awakening, Angela discovers she is confined in the trunk of her car. When she manages to escape and run to stop the cops before they leave, Thomas and his attack dog are waiting for her at the door. She shatters the window of a Lincoln Town car and hides inside after he lets Rocky, the dog, loose on her. She uses the tire iron she used to escape from the trunk to repeatedly stab the dog in the head when it starts to attack her inside. Angela, who is now covered in blood, rushes to a neighboring rental car office and dials 911 after the dog has passed away. Thomas chases after her right away, but she manages to spray him with something chemical, grab a few rental car keys, and take off in one of them. She is abruptly sideswiped by Thomas in another vehicle as she heads for the exit, which results in a game of chicken that Angela ultimately wins. Angela flips the car, however, and is likely knocked out in the midst of the chase. When Thomas opens the door to go get her, she pretends to be hurt and uses an envelope opener to stab him in the eye, suffocate him with her handcuff chains, then use his keys to unlock herself and shackle him to the damaged car. She grabs his taser and turns to leave as Thomas insults her and then discovers she's going to light a gasoline leak from the car on fire. Afterward, he begs her, "Why can't we just be friends?" He berates her by calling her the C-word when she ignores his requests. Now that Angela has lost all compassion for Thomas, she hurriedly ignites the gasoline stream, engulfing the vehicle and Thomas in flames. She spends a moment watching him burn and listening to his screams before turning around and walking away. Angela exits the garage with a limp after Thomas passed away, makes her way through the cold streets of New York City, and heads for the lights of many ambulances.